Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a concept that literally affects every single one of us. We spend so much energy trying to figure out how to get smarter, right? We're constantly hunting for the best books, the newest learning frameworks, maybe even dropping cash on brain training apps or supplements. But we almost never stop to consider what we might be doing on a daily basis that's actively sabotaging our cognitive capacity. So today, we're not talking about adding more things to your plate. Instead, we're going to look at how our very own everyday routines might be silently, quietly degrading our mental sharpness. I want you to really, truly ask yourself this question. Is your daily routine quietly destroying your intelligence? I know, it's a super uncomfortable thought, isn't it? We have this tendency to think of our intelligence as this fixed, static number, like something we're just born with that stays exactly the same forever. But the reality is that our cognitive abilities are incredibly dynamic. They fluctuate based on exactly how we treat our biological hardware. There's this invisible enemy here, and it's hidden right inside the completely normalized behaviors we all engage in, literally from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. Okay, let's dive right into our first major concept, the silent brain drain, and how everyday habits are secretly hurting your mind. Here is the harsh truth. Every single day, your brain with either improving or slowly declining. I really want to emphasize this because it changes absolutely everything about how we view our daily actions. There is literally no neutral ground for your brain. You aren't just hitting a pause button when you check out mentally. Sure, some habits actively build your focus, strengthen your memory, and enhance your overall intelligence. But other habits, the ones we're going to expose today, quietly damage those faculties over time. You have to frame these upcoming habits not just as, passive little mistakes, but as active threats to your mental sharpness. It's a total use it or lose it scenario, and the decline is so gradual you don't even notice it's happening until you suddenly realize you just can't focus like you used to. And that brings us to our very first cognitive saboteur. Habit number 1, the short-form content trap. And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict happening inside your mind right now. We all know the feeling, right? You open an app just to check something real quick, or maybe get a quick laugh, and suddenly you're swiping. You swipe to a funny clip, swipe to a shocking political headline, swipe to a cooking tutorial, swipe to a dance trend. It is an absolute barrage of novelty, and a few minutes turns into an hour in the blink of an eye. We're conditioning ourselves for rapid stimulation. Every single swipe delivers a totally new burst of dopamine. Your brain gets incredibly used to this rapid-fire reward system. And because of that, deep concentration, like actually reading a dense book, studying, or learning a complex new skill, well, it starts to feel agonizingly difficult. You're effectively training your brain to reject patience. It literally gets to the point where your mind begins expecting entertainment every few seconds. Just let that sink in for a second. When you try to sit down and solve a difficult problem at work or learn a new language, that material isn't going to magically entertain you every 3 seconds. It requires sustained, unrewarded effort before you ever get the payoff. But if your attention is entirely scattered from hours of short-form content, your brain basically goes into withdrawal. It demands that quick hit of entertainment. And as a direct result, learning, critical thinking, and complex problem-solving become exponentially harder. You haven't lost your natural intelligence. You've just destroyed your capacity to actually access it. All right, moving on to habit number 2, the sleep sacrifice, and why true mental recovery is absolutely non-negotiable. Now, what's really interesting about this definition is that it challenges how most of us live. In our modern hyper-competitive culture, so many people treat sleep like this optional luxury. We have this toxic I'll sleep when I'm dead mentality, where we trade hours of rest for a few more hours of work, or let's be honest, a few more hours of scrolling in bed, thinking we're somehow hacking the system to get more done. But notice the word active here. Sleep is an active state of processing information, organizing memories, and recovering from mental demands. We usually think of sleep as a passive void, like turning off your laptop and letting it sit in the dark. But it is actually the exact opposite. While you're sleeping, your brain is like a highly efficient night shift warehouse crew. It's actively filing away what you learned that day, tossing out the junk, and physically repairing the biological toll of thinking. If you cut that shift short, the warehouse becomes a chaotic mess. When you consistently sacrifice that recovery time, you face some severe hidden costs. Your thinking literally slows down, you'll find it noticeably harder to remember simple details, and your decision-making totally degrades. But that last point on the list, that is the real kicker. Easy tasks require more effort. When you're mentally exhausted, sending a simple email can feel like climbing Mount Everest. You aren't actually getting more done by staying up late. You're just ensuring that everything you do the next day is going to take twice as long and be of much lower quality. This is exactly why the world's top performers fiercely protect their sleep schedules. They know for a fact that mental performance relies entirely on proper biological recovery, which leads us perfectly to our third and final saboteur, the myth of multitasking and the true cost of shifting your attention. We absolutely love to trick ourselves into believing we can do it all at once. You're typing a report, checking a group chat, you've got a video playing in the background, and you're jumping between browser tabs every 3 minutes. It makes us feel incredibly productive, right? It feels fast-paced and important. The scientific reality, however, is that multitasking isn't actually doing things at once, it is repeatedly shifting your attention. Your brain physically cannot process two complex cognitive tasks simultaneously. Instead, it's just frantically shifting gears back and forth, from the email to the video, back to the report. Imagine your focus is like a battery. Every single time you shift gears, you are draining that battery just a little bit faster. The absolute gravity of the situation is this. Each switch comes with a mental cost. Every single time you interrupt yourself to just quickly glance at your phone, you don't just lose the 10 seconds you spent looking at the screen. You lose the time and the metabolic energy it takes to completely refocus your mind on the original task once you look back. The more often you interrupt yourself, the harder it becomes to ever truly settle down into your work. You basically keep yourself trapped in a shallow state of constant friction. So the crucial point here is that deep concentration is where real learning, creativity, and problem-solving happen. If you're constantly switching tasks, you never enter that flow state. You never reach the depths required to actually do brilliant work or connect complex ideas. The people who can focus deeply for long periods of time without giving in to the urge to switch tabs or check their phones, they hold a massive, almost unfair advantage in today's distracted world. They simply allow their brains to work the exact way they were designed to work, without constant self-imposed interruptions. All right, so we've identified the invisible enemies. Now, let's talk about how to fix it by reclaiming your sharpness through a process of subtraction. Getting sharper, becoming a better thinker, and improving your focus isn't about finding the perfect new smart hack to add to your incredibly busy life. It's actually a process of subtraction. Step 1, cut back on endless scrolling. You have to break that cycle of rapid-fire stimulation so your brain can actually tolerate patience again. Step 2, prioritize your sleep schedule. Treat your sleep as a non-negotiable biological requirement for your brain to process and recover, not just as a daily inconvenience. And step 3, give your full attention to one task at a time. Stop paying that mental switching cost. Let your brain enter that deep, uninterrupted state of focus. If you just remove the habits that are making your brain weaker, your natural intelligence and sharpness will immediately begin to resurface. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If deep focus is your biggest advantage in a heavily distracted world, what interruption will you eliminate today? Don't try to change your whole life by tomorrow. Just pick one thing. Are you going to put your phone in another room while you work? Are you going to set a strict bedtime tonight? Just take that one step to stop the silent brain drain and watch how much sharper your mind becomes. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.